Mhm. Sure we do. Mm.
You drive back yourself. Rental car. Take mine out.
Yes, back.
We're back in open session.
Yes.
Dr. Rigsby, are you familiar with this board's regulations governing prescriptions?
Familiar with it?
Yes, yes, sir.
I object to relevance. That's outside of the scope of what this proceeding is about, and it's improper.
Overruled.
I'm reading from part 2640, rule 1.11. A, prescriptions may not be written outside of a valid licensee-patient relationship. The preceding section says, in addition to any other requirements set forth in these rules pertaining to the issuance of prescriptions of controlled substances, the following additional requirements apply to all prescriptions, whether or not said prescriptions are for controlled substances, legend drugs, or any other medication. Ativan is a controlled substance, is it correct? Lexapro is a legend medication, is it correct? Part 2640, rule 1.4, section regarding patient records says a licensee who prescribes, dispenses, or administers a legend drug or controlled substance must maintain a complete record of his or her examination, evaluation, and treatment of the patient, which must include documentation of diagnosis, reason for prescribing, dispensing, or administering any legend drug or controlled substance, the name, dose, strength, quantity of the legend drug or controlled substance, and the date that the legend drug or controlled substance was prescribed, dispensed, or administered. The record required by this file must be maintained in the patient's medical records. If medical records are maintained at the office of the licensee, the records must be available for inspection by the representative of the Mississippi State Board of Medical Licensure. With that requirement.
And I made note of what I prescribed, so I did do that.
Okay. Now, as I understood your testimony, your counsel was asking you, did you write these prescriptions at the Mexican restaurant?
Yes.
Where do you maintain the record? Where did you? What record did you?
So I have like a duplicate copy of the prescription, and on the back of that I wrote, what he was being treated for. But I didn't, present it to anyone.
You didn't do an examination or evaluation.
I didn't know I needed an exam.
Though you've been known since June before that he had some serious psychological issues.
I wasn't in active doctor mode with him after that point. So
Are you an expert in addiction medicine?
no, sir, I'm not.
You're aware that Dr. Hamilton is.
Yes, I heard that.
You're aware that Dr. Hamilton has decades of experience in dealing with impaired physicians.
Yes, sir.
When you were, I'll make sure I don't go outside the topic of scope. You had a hard time admitting what had happened. The facts of the events when you for discipline in 1995. Is that accurate?
Correct.
At that time, did you assert that patients just misunderstood or mistook the contact?
Probably some 27 years ago, yes.
Today, aren't you saying that patient A just misunderstood, or are you saying he's lying?
What I'm saying, he's lying. What happened other than what we know as far as the grazing of the lip, but that other stuff, no, sir.
Okay, so just for the record's clear, patient A is lying.
For the record, patient A is not telling the truth as it relates to my interaction with him at that level.
So there are pages and pages of text messages between you and patient A.
Yes,
You took several pages, single space to do a timeline of your interactions with patient A.
correct.
But that's normal for you with anybody?
For the purpose of today, that's why this was created.
The amount of contact that you had with patient A,
Yes,
that's normal.
I communicate with people on a regular basis, but at the time, I didn't see patient A as a patient. I've said that more than one time.
I understand that you say you did not perceive him as a patient.
Right.
But do you understand that it's up to this board to determine whether or not you
Sure.
comply with ethical standards?
I understand that. I understand that.
Did I understand you correctly that you said that when he was discharged in June 2021, that you told him that you wanted to stay in contact because of concerns about his health, his future treatment?
Yeah, I want to make sure you got follow-up, yes.
The issue about the Father's Day present, I'm just not sure I understood. Did you actually spend Father's Day with him?
I was there Saturday evening, Sunday I was back with my family. But I was working with William that Saturday.
Did patient A misunderstand that you were acting as a mentor or as a mentor-mentee relationship with him?
I can't speak for what he understood, but I can say that I made it very clear. I'm here to guide you, give you advice. So did it appear in his mind as a father-son relationship? I can see where you see that, yes. But I do that for so many people, Mr. Barnes. So that's how I was looking at it.
Do you recall saying that to Agent Smith? That you considered patient A to be, you thought of him as a son?
I'm sure when Agent Smith said it, I was stunned and said, I thought we had a father-son relationship, which includes mentoring as far as I'm concerned, but not exclusive.
So you stated you were not his physician of record at the time, but you signed the prescription.
Yeah.
Was 1998 the last time that you were evaluated to determine whether or not you were safe to practice?
I'm going to object and ask not to answer unless we're going into the discussion. I can do that about examination. 19, whatever.
I'm not going to ask any details, and if the answer is yes, then we might go to executive session. But if it's no, we don't.
Fact, whether it exists or not, as far as my understanding is not something that's discussed or disclosed in the public arena.
I do have a question. Are the results of that the statement that you just made, was that ever disclosed in the orders from the board?
No, ma'am. I'm trying to determine that was the end.
Sustained.
Thank
Did you ever tell patient A that he was being too familiar with you and that he needed to back off?
I did not.
Did you ever tell him that he obviously misunderstood your relationship?
And, I did not.
How many people have you loaned belts to?
Have I done what? I'm sorry.
Loaned belts to?
I mean, it's a accessory item, I've loaned belt, socks, shirts, whatever. I mean, whoever needs it for the moment, if I have it, I'll loan it. Yes.
That's it.
Any redirect?
No regret.
Any questions from members of the board?
Aye.
Renee Dotson.
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Dodson, will you speak up
Oh,
for our
sure.
court reporter? Thank
Sure.
you.
Earlier in the day, you established your use of the term son
Yes, ma'am.
for young men. And the two gentlemen that we heard speak today, they clearly created a sense of belonging. How do you address your female needs?
Young lady, I mean, call me young lady.
And how do they address you in return?
It just depends. You mean outside of a doctor-patient relation, how would they address me? Or,
The female counterpart to say the men that were here today.
mainly they just call me doc. Or if they're my children's friends, call me Pop or Papa, because that's what my daughters call me. And so they'll call me Papa or Papa. If they're my children's inner circle.
No, I'm more interested in mentees that.
Oh, okay.
counterpart
So
these
a lot of
seniors.
times they may say, uncle. They may call me uncle. Like I've mentored some young ladies from when I used to practice in Lexington, who were troubleros. And when they were there, because their moms were nurses at the time. And if I was going to the campus with my fraternity brother, they tell people, it's my uncle right here. So I don't call them daughter or niece, they would call me uncle.
Any other question? Okay. You may be excused, Dr. Mack.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Council, we have any other witnesses? Yes. At this time, we're going to have closing statements.
I think the issues facing the board are clear, so I'll waive any additional closing statements.
Council,
I'll waive it, motion statements as well.
okay. At this time, we need to entertain a motion from the board to go into executive session to deliberate on this matter.
We can do that here.
Logistically,
Is this a situation where we need to close first and then go into?
we don't have to. It's been a long day and I think we know why we need to deliberate, but
Just the final deliberation.
yes, this, if there aren't any other matters, this will be the final deliberation in this matter. So logistically, Dr. Cleveland, do you want them to stay in here or do you want them to move? Okay. So there was a motion.
Motion to close the meeting to consider going into executive session.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Any further discussion? Motion carries.
We're going to close session.
The board is out of executive session and back in a full hearing. Dr. Kennard, the acting secretary of the board for this meeting, will give us the findings of the executive session.
Thank you. The executive session of the board finds Dr. Grisby guilty of count 1. His license is immediately suspended. Upon completion of a board-approved comprehensive multidisciplinary evaluation and board-approved psychosexual evaluation with a determination of a fitness for duty using polygraph testing, he can then reappear after 12 months.
Any further questions, you can refer to Dr. Cleveland, the executive director of the board.
I will issue an order, no later than 30 days.
Is there any other business of the board? We're adjourned.